and so I'm continuing my Lilith series. I wanted to try to get the videos in as much as possible, y'all. And I started with the 12th house, and I was going to go up to 11th, but I'm going to come back around to the first, and then, you know, I might even skip around just to surprise y'all. And I want to do the places that I do know quite a bit about, for sure. And Lilith in the first house is really a banger here. I probably should have did this one right now because I have so much to say about it. Lilith in the first house is magnetic. Lilith wants to get the individual to individualize themselves in a way that not isolates themselves, even though they feel isolated a lot of times, but to individualize themselves enough to have the guts, to have the confidence, to individualize themselves enough that they become some sort of leader or some sort of like a person that leads the way for others. So there's a lot of like that. There's somebody that frees themselves and then in return ultimately frees other people because of it. So Lilith in the first house people will never really be like the people that's around them. And the people that's around them can't understand it. They're attracted, they're drawn in, they're magnetized. But they really do not know. They can't comprehend always why. And this really bugs people because Lilith in the first house is acting as a mirror, okay, to the individuals that they're coming across and they're affecting in a way to where they're showing those individuals, okay, ways of waking up and freeing themselves. Now, because of this, you're going to come across people and you're going to come across those individuals that's not going to like this. Nope. Because they're going to be like, what, you know, I don't know why I'm feeling this strange, creepy, like I'm severely attracted to this person, but it's creepy in a way. And I don't want Lilith in the first house to have this type of control over me. They don't get that they're being drawn in for change, for parts of themselves that they refuse to express. They may be acting out subconsciously they may be acting out like maybe in the 12th house to where it's more intuitive. It's not as straightforward, you know, it's, whoa, do you see this? You know, you don't see it. And Lilith in the first house is straight out showing you like where your insecurities are. And people get mad. They will get mad at the Lilith in the first house person just because the Lilith in the first house person is existing. It's really insane. Y'all, I'm telling you, it is really insane. Lilith in the first house, they could always, like being young, when they were younger, they could have been isolated. Could have been picked apart. Okay? Could have been told that they were unattractive, even though everybody knows there's something attractive about them. Everybody. This can also magnetize some form of physical abuse, sexual or physical abuse to them, because especially when they're younger too. So if you have Lilith in the first house, a child with Lilith in the first house, really keep your eyes on them and keep them protected. Just really, because the reason why is because what can end up happening is if they're like molested or if they're abused in any type, I don't even know if I should have said the word, but if they are, I might delete the word out that I use it, but if they are physically abused in any manner, it could be put on them like, oh, well, you were the reason why this happened to you. Like, look at you. I can see how somebody could get it misconstrued that you're sending a signal, and the Lilith could literally be like, but I didn't. I I didn't do that all the way. And I don't take away from the fact, guys. Like, I understand that Lilith in the first house can be very seductive, but they're really just being themselves. Okay, they have a way about themselves to where it is enticing to other people. People find them to be their muse, even though sometimes they will never really tell them. Lilith in the first house individuals can have it very, very hard because they'll be put just through the universe alone. They will be put in leadership positions, or they'll be put in positions to where they got the potential to complete the job and the task, right? But people have an issue with them doing so, and because it's Lilith in the first house, and they present a challenge like for Lilith in the first house people. And when Lilith in the first house people overcome, because after rejection, it's like Lilith in the first house people get put in a position, smack down. You know what I'm saying? Get put in the pit, other people get chose over them. But when Lilith in the first house people get to the point to where they like, you know what, screw it, don't choose me, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, ignore me. Okay? Say what you gotta say. Because guess what? I'm gonna show up like this every single time. Unless I have to change. You get what I'm saying? I change as I need to change or whatever. But I'm not bothering you. Okay? You're going to have to get all of this. And that's what I'm going to be. And that's what I'm going to do. When they get to the position in the place where they can do that, oh my God. This is one sexy, you know what I'm saying, wild placement. Because they could literally be put up in front of other people. Okay? To see why. Like, okay, I overcame. This is the true ugly duckling story. Not because like, was the ugly duckling really ugly? Or did the ugly duckling did not fit in with people around him? Like, yeah, when the representation of the story says it all. Basically, because it's kind of like, we're going to operate a certain way until we embrace. It's like Lilith in the first house, changing up themselves, constantly being confused, trying to make other people feel comfortable, until one day they're like, you know what, screw it, man, please, I ain't trying to make nobody feel comfortable. This is me, and this is what it is, and if you have a problem, it's not my problem. And they blossom into this beautiful swan. People will imitate them without giving them credit. People would like want to wear their skin, and this is not a lie. And another thing about Lilith in the first house, they have a lot of people get turned on by them. Like, people come after them. It doesn't matter. You like, they have married individuals, people in relationships coming after them. They always have like a plethora of sex options at one time. Like, okay, imagine the man with Lilith in the first house. Okay? Imagine the woman, though. Because what's interesting here is that the same reason why dude is feeling you and they can't help the fact that they're feeling you, people try to act like, well, let's go here. They will then turn around and hate you for it. They will try to diminish you. They will try to belittle you. They will try to act like you are not important because they feel like you have some sort of control over them because of your look and your sex. Your look and your sex game could be, really good. Like, it just could. And it could fetishize you. So it's like a love-hate thing, Of course, women don't like you because they always feel like they man wants you. You might even entice them. Like, you entice both sexes. And people can abuse you for this. This is why it's very important for Lilith in the first house individuals to understand themselves. Because you have to be able to determine whether something is really your energy or somebody else pushing something like off on you. Like, think about Lilith and Pisces in the first house. People could see them, be drawn to them, but expect them to be what they want them to be, and then when they're not, or when this is why Lilith in Pisces in the first house has to create boundaries for herself, in its identity, because like when Lilith is not, they go into this really, deep-seated hate for them, and and want to present some form of boundaries on themselves. Like they want to impose these things onto the Lilith person, because the Lilith person is not becoming what they want them to become. And I feel like, yeah, up until a certain point, Lilith tries to do that to fit in, and then finally it kind of releases itself. But let's say in synastry, and like I will do a separate video on that, Lilith in the first house, synastry, where these two could definitely be attracted to each other, and because they both have a common story, because Lilith is kind of like, just Lilith on its own is like, has suppressed some things or attempted to present itself in a Lilith form, in that those parts of itself, and it's been rejected some type of way, or doesn't fit in. But when it comes across, it falls on a person's first house, that first house supports and accepts them, unless there's something else going on there. Okay, because that's a whole nother video, to where it's preventing one or the other person is preventing themselves from growing and evolving, but the first house person can also start to see themselves in a more confident way when coming across a Lilith person. But they both feel like there's a place for them to fit amongst each other, within each other. And they establish their relationship and their bond based on the fact that they were outcasted, or based on the fact that other people don't understand where they're coming from and who they are. And it can really create a very strong bond that's hard to break. And it looks physical, because to everybody else it may not make any sense, but it's not really just physical. Yeah, the sexual compatibility is probably, well, it's off the charts. It's great. If you look at just the fact that Lilith in the first house, or vice versa, they're really attracted to each other, but it's deeper. Yes, physically they are, but people don't understand that it's deeper than that. What cements it together and could be a very good synastry aspect is the fact that it goes deeper than just the physical. They're attracted to each other's ugly duckling phase, and they respect the coming into the swan phase. But I'll get into that more, and I will get into this more. This is just me touching bases, okay? Because if Lilith is in your first house, there's definitely something that about your identity is going to transform. And it comes from within. And it leads the chart. The first house is the chart leader. So once you can get that confidence within yourself, and you can lead with that confidence and lead with who you are, everything, it changes everything else for you. Okay, so yes, I will be doing more videos about this, so just stay posted and I will return.